Start recording. Okay, so as I was mentioning, last we left the adventures, you guys were all on your way to Carlestowe. You went through different trials and tribulations to get pointed in that direction, and you are now well on your way there. The marauding misfits have come across the town slightly ahead of the lost cartographers, and we're going to come in with the marauding misfits having just seen the town starting to come into view over the crest of a hill. You're coming in fairly, close to midday. A lot of traffic's coming in and out of the town. Carts and different vendors are starting to come in. People are shuffling around. So the road's starting to get a little bit busy, but you're still well outside of the town. And you guys can stop to have a little discussion before we continue down.
Did you guys ever get the feeling that a lot of time passes between our conversations? No?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so after you've had your dumb little chat,
Keep an eye on the guards. I want to see if they're going to take our weapons. How serious the town is.
Yeah, that is actually a good idea.
you are quite a ways away from the gates still, so you can tell that there is guards ahead, but they don't seem to be really checking people as they come in. It seems like a pretty free-flowing gate. They look more like they're there in case crap goes down, but you can make them out, but you can't really see a whole lot of what they're doing because you guys are still quite a ways away from the town. It's quite a bit of a road left, but you can see the flow of traffic coming in and out, and it doesn't appear like there's any massive check stop or anything like that.
Are any of them coming down this road?
None of the guards aren't. No, the guards are all posted up along the city wall.
No, the flowing traffic.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's people coming both ways. There's people who have started to come by you. Maybe they've come onto the road from other forks or from other smaller paths. Other ones that are leaving the town and have come by you guys. Nobody's really paying you any mind. It's this road coming into Carlestowe is quite busy, as Carlestowe is one of the larger towns and cities around.
Do we see the tattoos on any of them?
Roll a perception check. First roll.
Gameplay.
11. So you obviously you can't see every part of every person, but as people are walking by and you're kind of darting around, somewhat smoothly and discreetly, looking at people as they come around. Different people have different tattoos, but they look like normal tattoos. You've got sailors that are tattooed up and different things, but nothing like the tattoos that you've seen on the various enemies that you've come across. That specific rune. You don't see any symbol or any sign of it anywhere. So, as Norkin, is there anything that you're doing at this point while you guys are kind of just taking in the scene in front of you a little bit?
Making just an updated map of the road. Sage things, just improving on the quality. The map that it can't be good maps for this area, so I have to make them. They have to be good.
Okay. And Ronnie, is there anything that you're doing at this point?
Nope.
So Ronnie's just... All right. So as you guys are sitting there, doing your thing a little bit, you haven't quite started making your way into town. Up behind you comes the foursome that is collectively known as the Lost Cartographers. Straight off of their very sneaky experience previously, they're coming up the road, and they see you guys kind of stand out a little bit from the rest of the travelers because you don't have any work items on you or carts, but they kind of see your weapons and how you're kind of staring out at the town, and they're coming up behind you and they take note that they're not sure what to make of you. So, Lost Cartographers, as you're coming up the road just a ways ahead of you, you haven't been spotted yet, but there's three obviously adventurers or battle folks in front of you. How would you like to approach? Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. None of you have ever seen a walking cat like this either. So.
Is this more or less directed at our group?
Yes, this is over to the Lost Cartographers. You're coming up behind them.
Okay, so I see him, and as soon as I see him, I kind of stumble, and I grab my forehead like, oh, what the, God.
What's wrong? Dahlia.
Ice cream headache.
Shut up! You're such a dick, you little gnome. No.
Elf, get her.
I just got another vision, okay?
We know how those feel.
Yeah. Shut up and listen. You see that group up there? I don't know what it is. I just saw us like sitting around a table and having some sort of a serious conversation with these guys.
Serious good, serious bad. Yeah. Because I know what your good feels like.
I'm not sure if it's good or bad, but we're on the same side.
I trust you as far as I can throw you.
How far can you throw a strength check?
Strength check. Roll it.
Ha! Your group has a tiny fighter as well.
If he misses, I stick my foot out and trip him.
So you can throw her pretty far. So you trust her a whole bunch. So Dahlia tells you guys that she has this vision of you all sitting around having a conversation. You still haven't yet been spotted, but you're not sure whether you trust her visions or not, given her spotted pass with them. And like a typical dwarf, you're now drawn into the cat. You're like, oh, kitty. Varus, what's your thought of this strange group up ahead?
No thoughts, just observations and trying to get to know them before we actually talk. Like seeing how they behave.
So it's kind of
Spy on them a bit.
Yeah.
roll a investigation check or perception check. Sorry, perception check.
Have I been thrown?
No, he was.
I want to get up and attempt to roundhouse kick him.
We were just seeing how much you trust him.
You cannot kick. Was it perception, sir?
Yeah, perception. Sorry. So you've been watching their body language. It looks like they're kind of joking around with each other. They don't seem like they're here to be a threat. They seem to be travelers coming to the same town. It's not like they're gripping their weapons tightly or anything like that. From what you can see, they seem calm and just curious about the area that they're in as well.
Well, I say we throw Stout-Hearted in there to say hello, because he's got that confident, have you heard of me? You should have.
Oh, they have.
All right. Well, you guys can now start moving your way a little bit closer, and the marauding misfits. You guys hear the pattering of footsteps coming seemingly directly to you, and who spots these four travelers coming towards you? Which one of you three spots them first?
The cat makes the most sense, I guess.
Because I'm waving at it.
I mean, my passive perception is 14.
All right. So Bolt, you notice these guys coming towards you. You got a dwarf that's walking, smiling, and waving towards you. You've got this little gnome who's carrying a sword that's basically the same size that he is, and you've got a creature that I'm not sure if you've seen them before, but they resembles a human, but the skin tone's a little bit off. And then there's an elf that's approaching them as well, kind of staying in the back, keeping a close eye on all of you.
recognize the one with the weird skin tone with like a nature check? Or...
Sure. Yeah, you can do a nature check on the one with the weird skin tone.
Pardon me.
You're not sure exactly. It looks like it might be something that you've heard from childhood legends of Aasimars. You've not encountered one before, but you think that might be the race of this person coming up. But that's about as much as you're able to get from that.
I'll alert the other two. We've got some people approaching.
Oh. More small folk.
So you guys.
Can we make an insight check to maybe see what they're?
Yeah, you guys should definitely do an insight or perception check to see if they're approaching in an angrily way or. Probably should be you, Bolt, since you saw them.
Jumping up and down and waving. Totally angry.
I'm face palming.
So Bolt. Oh, don't say that. He'll run away. So Bolt is trying to watch, and he's a little confused because there's a difference in body language. He's got this dwarf who's smiling and waving and acting all goofy, and he's like, "Great, another freaking cat-loving dwarf." And then some of the others are looking more reserved, and then there's a little short gnome up front just confidently walking like he's king shit towards them. So it's hard to get a read on them, but none of them seem to be aggressive. You're just not really sure of their intentions. So as this time has passed, the two groups have grown close enough that you guys can be like, "Hey, how you doing?" type close enough. So I'll turn it over to maybe Stout if you want to do initial introduction and see where you guys stand.
Start with someone else. I'm trying to get my dogs out. I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. Thea, you see the kitty.
I do. I'm so sorry to stare, but you are gorgeous. I won't ask to pet you. I know that's rude, but it's a knowledge thing. I gotta know everything about you. Hello, I'm Thea.
Hello, and I'm just avoiding.
He steps away.
I don't need this attention right now. I just, meander off.
The story about him can be a little moody. People sort of fawn over his felineness.
Dahlia, you see Richard over there, and you notice that he seems to be of a holy order as well. That he seems to be a one that could be a paladin or at least a religiously motivated fighter of some sort.
Okay.
So whether
You're not gonna try to bond with Ralph? I mean, something.
that's
Are you of the Brotherhood, sir?
That would depend upon which brotherhood you speak of.
The Paladin one.
I am a paladin.
What's your name?
Well, it depends on who you ask, but my given name is Rogar.
Roscoe?
and with that, you guys have now kind of introduced each other. Varys, have you come up to say anything yet, or are you still kind of observing quietly from the back end?
Still observing because my internet is jumping in and out.
Okay, no problem. So Varys is kind of just staying to the outskirts. He's watching the cat kind of flip around a little bit and moving nervously and watching everybody. And so you guys are. Okay.
You seem to be heading towards Carlestowe as well, but the difference is you actually all seem to be able to handle yourselves. Not like unlike these other lot that we see going through. Adventurers, I'm gonna take it.
Yes.
Legendary warriors.
I've never heard of you.
Didn't even get his name. Just Actually, that's a good point. He is Norkin is a sage, so Norkin, you should maybe check. You should find out the name and check the book. See if you do know of him.
What was that name again?
Stout-hearted. STOU. You got it. Figure it out.
Yeah. I can spell them. My letters are actually
many songs written about me.
Have
I'm
I
not a
ever
bard,
heard-
though.
I want to know if I've heard about him too. What role would that
History check, and I'm going to say -4.
be? Oh wow.
I would like to,
What is this?
I would like to go up to Stout and ask him which songs.
I did get a critical hit though.
All right, so Bolt, you have heard of a stout-hearted, but the stout-heart that you heard of was a giant.
But yeah, many.
Hey.
Fight with the strength of a giant.
It is not okay.
No. The stout-hearted I heard about was a giant. Was a giant.
Just written wrong.
So you're saying this guy was a giant? I'm gonna write about him.
So you guys are
4 foot tall.
Norkin now wants to write about this giant.
I write about everything, to be fair.
You should ask him of his prize he took from our last encounter.
Oh man, that was exciting.
And what pray tell did you take with you?
I believe it was the tattered remains of a scrotum.
There you go, folks.
And it's in
You'll
a
carry
vial.
this with you?
Oh, it's right here. It's in a vial. I'm gonna
Oh.
study it later.
Okay.
I take it out of my backpack.
No, you can put that away.
Oh no, you don't want to see it? I'm gonna take it out.
No, thank you.
I think whoever's sending me my visions is drunk because I don't think we should be associating with these people.
you hear a loud "Hi, Kitty!" and coming up the road as fast as his little legs will carry him. You see Drumo approaching. He goes, I heard that there was a cat out here, and oh, you guys are here too. And he goes over. He gives Dia a great big hug. There's a smattering of greetings of how did you guys come together? And he again is drawn to Bolt, who is kind of trying to keep well out of arm's reach, and he shakes Ricky's hand, and he looks at Norkin, kind of gives a scowl and stays away from him. And he's quite enthralled to see that these two groups have somehow ended up at the doorstep at the same time, and he's talking about how other passerbyers and people who came to the inn mentioned that they had seen the cat and some other folks out here, so he had to come out and make sure to see if it was you guys or not.
Can I approach him before he gets too close to the group?
Uh,
Conversation with him?
Yeah, you can, or you can actually maybe you pull him aside because he is up to the group here now, and he's waving to you to come. He's like, come. Don't stand out here with the rabble. Come into the town. We can sit down and catch up and find out what's going on. How have you been? Tell me of your stories. Do you guys want to go with him towards the town, or? These
Head that way anyway.
We're headed that way. We might as well.
Who is this again?
I am so happy to see Dromo, brother! And I want to find out how he got so close to the cat.
And Norkin, yeah, I was gonna say Norkin. You should remember Dromo.
I didn't remember the name. That's all.
He did not get close to the cat.
Friendly term.
So I'm gonna. So I'm going to envision that at this point, Drumo's waving you guys towards the town, and Reginald is standing up at the front with him, leading the pack, and you've got Varys and Bolt are kind of staying as far back as they can, watching everything happening as they're going in, and Bolt trying mostly just to stay out of the reach of the others. and the rest of the group kind of mingling and chatting on the middle on the way up. And so, Mr. Paladin, what would you like to have a side conversation with?
While I have his attention, I would like to ask him if he still has any of that catnip left, and if so, if I could borrow some from him.
You can definitely buy some. It's fairly inexpensive. I don't have any on me. I didn't bring my cart. My cart's parked in the town's market. But let's go into the bar. I'll buy you a round, and while you guys are drinking, I can slip out and see if I can find some.
Oh, you're gonna buy us around?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely buy you around. I've got a good tab going with the barkeep in there. He's a friend. He'll cover everything.
Asmar over there doesn't drink, so I'll take her.
So you guys approach. So you guys approach the town's gates, and Bolt's nervously watching the guards to see if they're going to make any sort of movement, but they're almost completely indifferent. They're mostly there to make sure if a squabble or something breaks out that they can put an end to it. But for the most part, they're sitting there talking amongst themselves, and there's a free flow of traffic of all sorts of people, commoners. You see some well-to-do folks come by on horseback, and you enter the busy city square, and there's carts and people bustling all over the place, children running around. It's a very active town during the early morning, early afternoon time frame here. You enter a bar. It's not the greatest looking bar, to be honest, but it is a bar. It's called the Prancing Pony. We're going to totally steal that name. Yep, we're going to totally steal it.
There's like so many like random name generators.
I know, but I stole that one because I like it. All right, no, forget it. I got called out on it. Fine. The Prancing Hog. The Prancing Hog. You walk in, and as you walk into the Prancing Hog, you see how maybe it got its name as there's a very large man moving with a grace you wouldn't expect behind the bar, quickly handing out drinks. And Dromo kind of flags at the bartender and asks if he can use the back room. They've got a large, kind of like a meeting hall size room in the back, so you guys could have a private conversation. And the barkeep waves him back. There's obviously a familiarity there. They didn't really even have to exchange words too much. And so you guys all pile into this back room. There's a grand table with many chairs, some random, little, what's the word I'm looking for, barrels and stuff strewn around the room, but it's mostly centered around this very large table that you guys can all sit on.
I sit as far away from the cat as I can because I realize I'm making him uncomfortable.
All right.
I don't sit.
Are you? All right, I'm gonna put Bolt over here then. Since Bolt.
Dahlia is your name, correct?
Dahlia, yeah.
Dahlia, well, it's you don't drink. I also don't partake in the devil's liquid. I imagine something similar.
I'll have one of his too.
All right, so I'm gonna put Dahlia and Norkin kind of sitting across from each other, maybe exchanging notes.
I did feel a little bit of a kinship with him.
It's because I'm tiny. It's pretty sweet. I'm pocket-sized.
Your pocket size?
So you guys are in this room, and you're just getting situated, and the bartenders come in with the first round of beverages and set them down in front of you. Asked if anybody wanted any food, and you guys got just basically a large plate of meats and breads brought in so you can munch. And you're starting to have some conversations back and forth regarding the last few days of your various journeys. And at this point, we're going to put a pause on the conversation that's taking place in the bar. And in great movie fashion, we're going to have a cutscene. And the camera cuts, and we come to this kind of dingy, underground, cavernous-like tunnel. It opens up to a large room with some wooden tables and stacks of books and odd-looking, like, potion stands. There's a large well-shaped opening in the center of the room, but it's not a well, because if it is a well, it's going to a non-water source. It's got some weird murky-ish colored. It doesn't look like water. It's liquid, but it's not clear what that would be. Inside the room, we see a young man. His armor would be very familiar to anybody who had seen him before. He's got a cloak on, a fresh cloak, which bears a bear head on it. And in front of him, there's an older gentleman, completely in a dark hood, long flowing robes, and you can't make out his face, but you hear the younger man speak, and he says, "Uncle, I tried, but nothing you've set up that I've gone to work for has succeeded. No matter what I do, no matter what glory or different." Sorry, I got that distracted. Whatever glory or roadblocks I put in front of them, Father still favors Simon. Simon is the favorite. I can't get anywhere with him. And the old man scowls a little bit and says, "Tried? You barely lifted a finger when I sent those beasts to Uxbridge. You let others end up taking the credit, and you couldn't even, take the contraband that was coming in on that ship and get rid of it." He goes, "All you've done is emboldened those pests and made them more curious about what's happening around here. No wonder your father's looking to give the protectorate role to your brother when he passes on. I'm starting to wonder if I'm just wasting my time doing anything with you. Maybe you'd be able to complete small tasks, but even if we could get your favor from your father, I don't know if you would have the guts to do the job of ridding Eldrick of his mortal shell when the time came." And the younger man stands up and he's, killing I can do. Just give me another chance, uncle." And the older man says, "All right, Richard, come over here. Let me fix that shoulder, and I'll tell you what must be done. But if you fail me again, a shoulder will be the least of your problems. And I will come at your father in another way." And that scene fades out, and we're back to you guys at the bar. And I'll let you guys decide how you're discussing stuff with each other of what notes you're comparing.
I'd like to remind Dremel of catnip.
Oh, yes, and Dremel says, "Yes, just not a problem. I will go out and see if I can find some of that Riley, and I'll be right back." And he scurries out of the bar and heads around to the back. He's gone for 5 to 10 minutes, and he comes back. He's got a small pouch, and he just kind of throws it to you, and he goes, "Free of charge." He goes, "I don't know how long it's been in the cart. It might be quite old, but you're welcome to it."
Thank you, kind sir.
So what brings you all to Carlestowe?
Well, we were hired by a benefactor to bring something to the island, and we failed and are sort of shipwrecked here. Well, not shipwrecked, but yeah, we're stranded.
But this is where you were bringing said items.
I actually can't remember that, Monkey. Where
Yeah,
was
we
it?
were bringing them to Carlestowe. They are currently at the bottom of the ocean.
Sweet. We were drug mules. That's pretty sweet.
Hold on. So you're coming here empty-handed when you failed the mission. When we're coming here to catch someone. Who...
I'm not empty-handed. I have an egg. Look at it. It's birdie.
Bolt holds up this glorious egg as if it's the baby from the Lion King. He's holding it up and just being like, "Gaze upon my egg."
No, I just think it's beautiful.
We've got to check to see if he drops that egg.
Roll an athletics check. Athletics check.
Drops it, I want to catch it.
Me?
Yep.
I wish I was a
No dropping. He holds it confidently up in the center of the room and then brings it back and clutches it to his chest. He sees everybody looking at it, and while they may be looking at that egg as a curiosity or a trinket, he's starting to fear that maybe somebody's planning on taking the egg from him. So he's holding it really tight and close to his chest.
You all really keep some interesting company.
Yeah, I tell myself that every day.
Tell me again there, Sage. How strong am I? I'm compared to what kind of giant?
Oh, actually, I've never heard of you. My history check was really low. Like, this giant guy sounds awesome.
We're gonna work on your. I'm gonna learn you some, boy.
I know my letters quite well.
What kind of
I'm actually a calligrapher. It's very funny that you guys are named after calligraphers. Cartographers. Whoops.
I'd like to address Norton, if I can.
Sure.
And so we're on our way here in search of the meaning of a symbol. I'd like to show it to you. Maybe you've seen it in your adventures. And I'd like to pull out a sketch of the stars and the swipe and hand it to him.
Sideways smiling.
Smiley face?
Sorry.
Is it the same thing, Monkey?
Yes, that's the exact same symbol you guys have encountered before as well.
Well, actually, I don't even need to do any research on this. We've encountered this emblem a few times.
Was it
Where?
friendly to you too, like Dahlia says it is?
Oh, what's that?
Nah, I
friendly
have
to
an
you
edit
two?
on that. I just haven't been able to share it with you. Such
Edit?
a bad symbol, guys. Like, that lady totally wanted to kill us.
Where did you guys come across this symbol?
Wait a minute. Dahlia had a vision that this was full of goodness, but now you're editing that it's bad. What happened?
It was really unclear before. After I
Oh,
thought
that's
about
right.
it for a while, things became a little bit more clear, and I remember seeing this in the vision. I saw the sign on the heads of the beasts that we killed.
You did say it was unclear. That's understandable.
So fighting that girl who was friendly is the symbol, and now these lugs are carrying around the same symbol. That's not a coincidence.
Are you all associated with this symbol?
Well, no. Like we just explained, we've encountered it through being attacked several times, actually, by people wearing this mark. Some of them, some weird fish folk, humanoid fish that I've never encountered in my studies, anyway.
So battle friendly, nice. Rounds again on the elf.
So you yell for another round, and Drumo, who's kind of been sitting back, just amazed with your various battle stories, kind of goes over, and there's a little window in the door, and he opens up the window and yells over to the barkeep for another round, and closes the window and the door, and starts heading back towards the table where you all sit. Around that same time, you hear a bunch of commotion and yelling, some smashing of objects in the main bar area, and Drumo hears it as well. He turns around to come back, and just at that moment, the door leading into this area is kicked open violently. It just comes swinging open, hits the wall behind it, bounces, kind of almost breaks the hinge a little bit, and in walks Richard Kane. He's holding a crossbow in front of him, and coming just behind him are three hooded individuals. You can see movement and what looks to be, people kind of slumped over in the background, but you can't get a clear view because these guys are blocking the doorway pretty severely. And as they walk into the room, Richard points at the adventurers. Not Richard the paladin, Richard the bad guy, points at the adventurers and tells them that they're all under arrest and they're going to come with him. And he notices the sword on Varus's back, and he goes, "And I'll be taking that back as well." Drumo actually speaks up and asks the question you just did. Says, "On whose authority? You're not the protectorate. Bring your father's men, and we'll have a talk." And Richard Kane grabs Drumo by the neck, picks him up off the ground, and just throws him across the room. And he hits the wall and hits his head and kind of slumps down to the ground, and he's not moving at the moment. And at this point, everybody's going to roll for initiative. So please roll for your initiative in the chat.
Roland, did you say that this guy wanted the sword that was on Varus's back?
Yeah.
This is the same asshole. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one you're looking for. We're looking for.
We encountered through story from one of the NPCs we met.
He tried to steal from us.
Oh, style.
Wow.
He tried to claim a battle we were winning and take our gold.
Does the standing at the ready not count?
No. You won't get anything at this point. They kind of came in and you guys were well into story and booze at this point. You just didn't really get a chance to have any way of noticing them coming. All right, I'm going to ask for your number. If you've got if you rolled between a 20 and a 15, let me know and just say what your number was.
15.
21.
18, Thea.
Okay, if you roll between a 14 and a 9.
10.
12.
Between an 8 and a 3.
8.
And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who's left? Bolt?
With a strong 2.
Bolt, you got a 15. Sorry, who didn't? Oh, Stout with a strong 2. Okay, thank you. And then I rolled a 16, a 15, and a 1. Yeah.
Will you do anything special for a natural 1 besides going last? Just wondering.
Don't think I'm going to in this situation. I'll just let him go last. To do 16 is going to be...
I'll talk to you later about that.
And 14 will be him because Bolt has the 15. All right. I'm going to open up a voice chat so you guys can see where you're at and what's going on.
Can you please give me that order?
I definitely will. I'll read it out here as soon as we get into the other voice chat. No problem. So everybody disconnect from here and then we'll reconnect in there.
I missed them already. Am I the only one here?
You are. I just haven't gotten everybody's name in yet. Jason Cloud. Oops.
Hope you didn't take offense to that.
Not at all. Not at all. Who am I missing here now? We've got to get Wade and JW.
I'm gonna grab a beer while you set this up.
Yeah, no problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who am I missing? Oh, Mandy. Sorry. And Midnight Mandy. Add a member. All right. Let's see. Oh, we are going to lose the music for this. I apologize. That's right. Oh, well, we'll go back to the other room once the battle ends. You guys should be pretty focused on this anyway. All right, is everybody in the room here now? We got everybody? Mic check.
Yes, so.
Hello.
All right. So hopefully you can see the map that's up here. My fancy map of you guys in a bar. And we're going to do everything based off of letter of your character name. K is Richard Kane, just to not confuse himself with Ralph. Yeah, you can call him Kane. That's the family name. The initiative order, just so you're aware, is Dahlia, Tia, one of the enemies, or two of the enemies that will be revealed in a moment. Then Bolt. Then another enemy that will be revealed in a minute. Varus.
The mirror is it really hard to see that map.
Yeah, it is super hard.
Blurred.
It's blurred.
Oh yeah.
Very, yeah.
Hmm.
I can't make out the letters at all.
No.
I thought maybe it was just me.
Interesting. I don't know why it would be blurred at all.
Yeah, your whole entire screen, like even the Discord's all going fuzzy.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, go HD, monkey.
Don't know what would be causing that. I wonder if it's just because of the number of people.
To be honest, it was happening a little bit last week, but I didn't mention it because I just assumed it was on my end.
Huh. All right. Well, you can make out that there's blobs of stuff. You just can't read it real well.
Yeah, so you'll have to like hover over us when it's our turn, because I have no idea where I am.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is, just for the sake of clarity, so you have an idea of what it started looking like, I will add in. So you have an idea of how things started, and then as it moves along, then we can, if you have questions at that time, I'll answer them then. But at least you have an idea of how the initial room looks like. Okay, so you guys everybody's standing and aware at this point. The three hooded figures that came in behind Kane drop their cloaks. In the back, you see two skeletons armed with both a short bow and a short sword, and then the gentleman who's standing just in front of Kane there. He's marked as SB. He begins to kind of hover about a foot or two off the ground, and he's already a tall being. He's another skeleton, but he looks like he's about maybe 6.5 feet tall, 7 feet tall. He towers over everybody else in here, and plus the fact that he's hovering about a foot off the ground makes him even taller than that. And all of a sudden, as he drops the cloak, his hands start to glow red like embers, and then actually turn into flames, and his head also begins to turn red and burst into flames. But it's not a flame that has any smoke, it's just like a red glowing flame of a head and hands as he stands there glowing in front of you. And and yeah, it's I didn't even think of that, but yeah. So rules of your map here, as you're looking at it, each square is 5 feet. And Dahlia, you are first. What would you like to do? And Thea, you will be coming up next, so just think about what your action will be.
Finish that list for me.
Sorry.
So Dahlia, Thea, Hood, Bolt, Hood, Varus. And which one of those hoods is the SB?
The one that's marked SB, the one that's
Okay, but in your list that you gave me, Dahlia, Thea.
okay. Dahlia, Thea, the two skeletons are going to operate on the same turn.
Right.
Bolt, then the skeleton boss, then Varus, then Riley. I think I already used that one, but oh well. Norkin, and then Stout.
Thank you so much.
No, sorry. Swap Stout and Stout rolled much better.
Stout was the 2.
Oh yes, he did. Okay, so after Stout, then it's Kane. Sorry, I knew I was missing somebody. Kane had. Yeah, Kane got the critical failure there.
My God, that's gotta be Kane.
I literally cannot see this map at all.
Nope. All right. Well, you have to do Theater of the Mind with it. If you want, you can open up the one I pasted there in the channel. You should be able to open that one up.
In what channel?
It should be in Test Garbage channel, I believe. You can kind of get a view of what it's looking like.
Nice image.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you more about what's going on here, but that's Discord. Okay. Yeah, I kind of had you sitting off the side because you said you didn't want to sit near anybody. So that's the way you guys were positioned as everybody came bursting into the room. And Dahlia, like I said, you're first up, and Thea, you will be next in line. So think about your move. Dahlia, what would you like to do?
I'd like to move forward and jump up onto the edge of the table and take aim at the skeleton boss.
So right at the edge of the table, right in front of where you're at?
Yeah, it's pretty much two blocks in front of me.
Okay, sounds good. And you're going to take aim at the skeleton boss. Feel free to roll for roll for your chance to hit. You jump up there. You let loose an arrow, but it doesn't seem to impact with anything. You kind of lose sight of it as it flies towards them. You're not sure if it just missed or if it flew through the flames coming through them and melted, but there is no hit on that at all.
As a bonus action, I would like to cast Divine whatchamacallit on myself.
Which does what?
Which, if as long as I concentrate and don't get hit until the next turn, then if I hit on the next turn, I'll get radiant damage, and I'll roll for how much.
Okay, sounds good.
Extra damage.
Okay. Thea, what would you like to do next?
I can't really move in on them, and I don't have any range attacks and no use for spells right now, so I'd actually like to do a cowardly thing and like hide behind my chair and be ready like for an attack.
Okay, so if you're going to kind of ready yourself for a reaction, you got to tell me exactly what item's going to happen to you and what you're going to do when it happens. So what are you expecting to happen, and what would be your reaction to it?
Well, I no longer have a shield. If an arrow comes my way, I'd like to bat it away with my hammer.
Okay, we can definitely try that out. At this point, the two skeletons are going to go here. They've got the ability to move 30 feet, so 6 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This guy is going to move towards that way, and the other skeleton is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to here. And once they've moved in this close, the first one is going to take aim at Bolt with his short sword, with his short bow, and he's going to roll a d20 plus. Where's that? Plus 4. 12. I don't think that's a hit on Bolt. And the other one's going to do the same thing, but taking aim at. I don't have my list up anymore. Reginald. 15. No. So two arrows are fired and go harmlessly away. At this point, Bolt, it'll be your turn, and then it'll be the boss, and then Varys, it'll be your turn. So Bolt, what would you like to do?
First, looking at it, I'd like to move back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, or towards the top. Sorry.
Find somewhere to put that egg.
So you're moving away from the enemies or towards them? Away. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, you're back there.
All right, I'm going to take my bonus action, and I'm going to cast Hunter's
You're going to cast what, sorry?
Mark.
Okay. Which does what?
Means if I hit an enemy, I deal an extra, or that enemy, I deal 1 extra d6 of damage. I'm going to target the one that targeted me.
Okay. That's the one directly, basically, line of sight from you.
Right, correct. And then I'm going to shoot.
Okay.
Make sure I do it in the right chat.
You shoot and you miss.
Okay.
Arrows seem to be cursed in this burr. Okay. From your turn, the flaming skeleton in the front of the room lifts up one hand, points the hand almost as if it's a weapon of its own, points it in Varys's general direction, and a flame comes flying out and stays in like this burning ball of fire. It comes flying towards Varys. And let's see, we roll d20 plus 5. 15. Varys, is that good enough to hit you? So Varys ducks behind his chair. The bolt flies forward, hits the wall, but strangely doesn't seem to set it on fire. It just kind of hits and there's a solid thud. It doesn't look like this wood inn has to worry about catching on fire, but it definitely missed its intended target. The skull, before the end of his turn, then decides to, as his final action, you see that he brings his hands back together and he talks to himself for a moment, and then there's a shimmer that kind of appears around him. At that end, it's his end of his turn, and then it's Varys and Remy's turn. So Varys, you're up first.
I take aim at Kane.
Okay.
Are we sticking to every square is still 5 feet, sir?
Yes, sir. It is a grand banquet table, yeah. No. Yeah. 9. You do not hit Kane, unfortunately. Would you like to move anywhere?
I would like to move backwards 3 blocks.
Okay. Oh, help if I was able to actually use my mouse. There we go. You've moved back 15 feet. And I'm not sure if you gained any other abilities when you leveled up that you'd like to take, or any bonus actions you have, but if not, it will be, we'll call him by his proper name this time, Rogar's turn. And then Norkin, you'll be on deck for next.
Oh, I'm already ready.
I'm done.
I would like to move 2 blocks forward and 1 to the left, so I'm kind of kitty corner from the skeleton.
Okay.
And I would like to attack him with my warhammer.
Go for it. Are you throwing it, two-hand damaging it? What?
No, one-handed. I've got my shield.
Okay. 16. That is a hit. Roll for damage, please. Wow. Okay. So. All right. So you swing your hammer, and you knock several ribs off the skeleton, and its whole body kind of slumps a little bit to the side that I got struck from. It hasn't fallen, but it's all twisted and banged up. The ribs anything that's in that general body area that didn't go flying off in a rain of bones is all cracked and crumbled quite a bit. It's staying on its feet, but you landed a significant blow to it. Norkin, it's your turn.
Cool. So I'm going to spend a key point, and I'm going to take Step of the Wind this turn.
Okay.
So that allows me to take Disengage or Dash as a bonus action. And I can jump doubled this turn. So since I'm on the other side of the table there, I imagine on the end there. Or no, yeah. Well, I'm gonna jump on the chair and then do a flying kick to the skeleton there.
Okay, so you're going to end up standing next to the skeleton after this?
Yeah, but in a cool jump attack.
All right. Well, let's see if you land first. Roll to see if you hit, and then we'll see how cool of an attack. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see whether this is a cool jump kick or a cool horrible fail. No, it is a cool kick. So roll for damage.
You just hear Bolt erupt in the background. He hit a kick.
Way to go, Danielson!
All right, and describe how your amazing kick has downed this the skeleton that you hit.
He's dead. You said?
Yeah, he's been down. He's out.
Oh, cool. Well, I basically just do a running jump to the table, jump, and then basically just coming at it, kick its fucking head right off. And since I don't have anything else to attack, I'm not going to take a bonus action this turn.
All right.
I can move again, actually, can't I?
If you didn't use your full movement, yeah.
Use a bonus action for it.
Yeah, actually, my bonus action thing actually works up here. So I'm going to go up to the other skeleton and do... Oh, wait, no, I can't. I already used my bonus action. Never mind. I'm just going to end my turn next to R there.
All right. So you smash this guy. Bones are kind of all crumpled, laying around it. The skeleton's head sitting right next to it. And that ends your turn. At this point, it is Stout's turn to go, and it'll be Kane's turn after that.
All right, so Stout, of course, I'm looking back at Varys, wondering why the hell he's retreating. Figured the elf boy would hide back. I'd like to, being the 3 foot that I am, jump on top of the table, charge towards Kane, yelling as far as I can go, 25 feet.
2, 3, 4, 5. You can get to about here.
Works for me, sir.
All right. So you do that. Kane hears Stout's yells, and just backs himself back over here by the door. And he's going to do a quick stealth check to see if he gets hidden or not.
Kitty, go fetch those bones.
So yeah, 23. Kane looks like maybe he just ran out of the building. You're not really sure. He headed towards the door and he kind of vanished from sight.
Seriously?
See there, Sage? He's scared. He's running. Let's get him.
Dahlia, then Dia. So Dahlia, what would you like to do next?
I would like to move 25 feet to the left to the edge of the table. And I would again like to take aim at the boss skeleton.
All right. Take aim and let's see if you hit. 11. No, you do not.
Hey, you guys want to join this fight sometime?
You guys see my cool kick? I'm making notes on it. Right? Call it the warrior I've never heard of. Kick.
Eyes up, Sage. Eyes up.
All right. Thea, then it'll be the 2 skeletons. Oh, sorry. Bonus?
Can I be at the ready in case I'm attacked?
Sure, you gotta describe exactly what you want to do here.
It doesn't count as an attack. So since she didn't attack, she just rolled for hit. That doesn't count.
Oh yeah, you can't set yourself up for a reaction because you did attack. You did your action.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. So it'll be Thea, then the skeletons, and then Bolt. Or skeleton.
Far away from me, I think. Yeah. I want to move 3 chairs to the left of me and be at the ready for any flaming balls coming from the skeleton boss to, try to hit them away with my hammer.
All right. All right. And then it's going to be the skeleton. The skeleton is going to head up to about here. He's, for those who can't see on the map, the next skeleton is behind the first barrel thing near the corner of the table. He's going to take aim with the short bow at Norkin. And let's see, so we do a roll d20 plus 4. 18, is that a hit? Norkin?
Oh yeah, that's totally a hit.
Okay. Roll 1d6 plus 2. Please take 5 damage.
I will, but not gonna thank you for it.
No problem. Bolt, it's your turn, and then it'll be the skeletal boss's turn.
I just realized how to focus participant.
Oh, yeah, if you double click on my thing, it should, that might make it easier. Yeah, if anybody,
Brought it up.
oh, is there another thing after that? Bolt?
Yep.
So I can still see the one skeleton, right? I can't see the boss, so he's invisible.
No, the boss is still visible. Kane is the one who went invisible by the doorway. So SB, you can still see. Kane the human that you guys encountered before is the one who's hidden.
Oh, you love invisibility so much, Mookie.
That's great.
Isn't it great?
He's not invisible, I should say. He's hidden. He's kind of cloaked himself into the thing. Yeah.
That you actually use invisibility.
No, he's
Just stealth.
It's one of my
He's
favorite.
gonna shoot that skeleton.
the skeleton in front of you. Okay, that's definitely a hit.
Okay, so 6 initially.
Okay.
And roll a d6.
Did you say that you would cast that the second time on this guy, or is that like a? How long does that spell last for when you cast it?
10 total. Hang on, I'll look up right here. But it does last more than one round.
Okay.
Until the spell ends, which
Is now, I guess, because you hit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to say you did 10 damage here.
It's coming and
Close
going.
in
That is-
All right. Awesome. That's good news. All right. So Bolt fires an arrow at the skeleton, rips its arm right off. It connects and just you see a bony arm go flying through the air a little bit. It lands just behind him. The hand's still twitching, but leveled a very serious blow to the skeleton. The skeletal boss looks around the room, takes both hands and points them in different directions. One towards Stia, and the other one towards Norkin, and is going to fire firebolts towards them. Thea, you had a reaction on it. I'm going to let you roll to see if you are able to deflect this one or not. You should be at the ready on it. So roll an athletics check. If you beat a 10, I'm going to say that he misses you automatically. And for you, Norkin, let me know if this is a hit. 18.
Yes.
Okay.
14.
Okay, so the one that's coming your way completely misses. This is going to hurt. Sorry. Oh, maybe not. Okay, take 5 more damage, Norkin.
I am down to half.
Okay, you might want to let your teammates know if you're hurting. And now we're over to Varys, and then I'm drawing blanks on our names. I should have had the list up in front of me while I'm doing this, but I got other stuff up. But Rory, it'll be your turn. Varys and then Rory. Thank you. Varys, what would you like to do?
Oh, I fell out a little bit.
No problem.
I would like to take aim at the skeleton.
Sure thing. 7. Your elvish eyesight is not doing you any favors. It may be needed to adjust. Oh, is that? Oh yeah, roll your 2-hit roll. If you manage to hit, we'll say that's your damage roll. But yeah, roll your 2-hit. D20 plus your 2-hit.
That's what I did last as well. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Probably why you're rolling so bad. You're rolling the wrong dice.
There we go.
Okay, well that didn't do you any favors either. So you still missed. So yeah, you may have wanted to adjust your bow before coming into the town. It looks like because your eyesight's way off. Raja, it's your turn, and then it'll be Norkin's turn.
Okay. I would like to go charging directly towards the skeleton boss, 30 feet. And at the end of my run, I'd like to toss my hammer.
All right, so 30 feet, 5, 10, 15, 20. You can get to him in 25 and stand right next to him if you want.
Can I?
Yep.
That's what I would like to do, and then swing my hammer instead of throwing it.
Okay. Take a swing, please, sir. 23. That's a hit.
Alright. And
12 damage. Look at you coming to play.
that's right.
Oh, actually, shit. Was that a hit? Give me a second. I forgot he cast that. No, I apologize. He had cast a shield on him. That shimmer that you saw at the end of his last turn there when he had done it, he had cast up a shield around himself.
23 is still not a hit.
23 is... Oh, sorry. No, 23 is still a hit. I thought I was looking at your 16. Yes, 23 is still a hit at that point. So yeah, you've done 12 damage to him, and the shield has dropped.
Nice.
So yeah, you see him kind of stumble a little bit. He took a good blow. Nothing falling off him or anything. Maybe a little bit of a crack or something on a couple of the bones, but his gaze shifts right to you, and his eyes are just dark holes, like empty blackness in this raging red flaming skull staring right into your face.
So I'd like to also shout out to the cartographers. See how this is done?
Did what to the cargo you were hauling?
Technically, that guy sank it. So he did nothing.
Stout.
Let it sink.
Come on, guys, we're on the same side.
Stout. Stout, your turn, then Kane will be up.
Oh yeah, it is.
You have no idea where Kane is right now, so you can't tell me you're heading towards him. You've lost sight of Kane altogether.
Yeah. So
Hey, monkey, you skipped me by.
Did I? Oh, sorry. Yep, no problem. Sorry, Norkin goes, and then Stout goes.
Went full maritime on you just to make sure that you knew I was serious, man.
That's all right. I don't want you killing any more of my skeletons.
I'm gonna kill one more of your skeletons. He moved me up 2 to the north, and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Oh, I can't actually reach him.
Diagonal moves you can.
Oh, yeah. Thank you there, Roland. Yeah, I'll move diagonally to that skeleton then.
Are you going past him?
No, just next to him, just so I can attack him.
Okay, so I'll put you there then. You're kind of standing on a barrel thingy, but that's cool. You're a halfling, so that just brings you up to his eyesight.
I'm going to try to just do a punch to like his sort of his like spinal column area.
All right, let's see if you hit.
Hopefully, that's the battle.
$15 is a hit.
Wonderful.
$7 damage. Describe how you destroyed a second skeleton.
Well, I basically just go in, punch through its rib cage, and grab its spinal column and pull it out.
All right, awesome. As he crumples down, you kind of throw the bones down in disgust and look around the room at the rest of them and just being like, do I got to do all this myself?
Also, I could probably use some healing.
Yeah, kind of meaningfully glance at
I've got it marked down.
Oh, I've got skeleton bone in my fucking...
All right. After you, Stout, you're up.
Alright, now that I let you handle the easy work, time for the men to come into play.
I just
So,
got the
clearly-
spinal cord, sir.
You know what? I scared that big, ugly brunt of a guy. So I'll tell you what. I'll take down this big guy. You go ahead and rest up. You look like you need it. So I'd like to move my 25 feet towards the skeleton boss.
2, 3, 4, 5. You're just short of him.
Cool. I'd like to yell again.
All right, what are you yelling at him?
Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
Sounds good to me. He shows no reaction at all to your screams, but good enough. On Kane's turn, he's going to kind of come out of hiding a little bit, draw the crossbow that he has, take aim at Stout, and he's going to roll a d20 plus 5 to see if he hits you. 23, I'm pretty sure that's a hit. And that is a 1d8. So as you come screaming, and running towards the skeletal boss, Kane pokes his head back in from the doorway and takes a little pot shot at you. Take 2 damage, please. We then roll ourselves back up to Dahlia, then Dia.
Norkin, how low are you on health?
Out of 17, I'm at 7.
You're a better shot. I'm close enough to take care of him.
I haven't hit anybody yet, but I'll stay back here.
I cannot hit anybody. I have a hammer.
I'm going to take aim at the skeleton that is in between Thea and Norkin.
There is no skeleton between Thea and Norkin.
Norkin
Yeah, I
just
thought that-
annihilated that.
Oh,
Your active enemies on the board are the skeleton boss and Kane.
and the skeleton boss has dropped his shield.
Yeah, he no longer has the magical shield around him.
All right, then I will take aim at him.
Nice.
19 is a hit. Alright. Oops, I just broke part of my pen. Good job.
That was a good hit.
Yeah, you were it was so good it reached through the internet and broke my pen. Okay, so your arrow flies through the air, hits the skeletal boss in the torso, and kind of wedges. The arrow stays wedged between his rib cage bones, like different ribs, and sitting there. He kind of reached back. He went to reach down and pull it out of him, and as he did, he kind of bent in this really gruesome way, and then the individual ribs snapped out as the arrow came down. He throws it down in disgust and stares back in your direction. Thea, it's your turn, and then it'll be Bolt up next.
I'd like to walk over next to Norton
Okay,
and let me mark this off.
and it's Norkin, not Norton, but
Glad my name's not
What
the
did I do? Sorry. So sorry. I'm trying to do so many things at once. It's happening faster and I'm slowing it down.
Darwin.
Yeah. And I'd like to do a spell, Cure Wounds.
okay.
He regains hit points equal to 1d8 plus 3.
Okay,
Over here.
let's roll it and see how you do.
Plus 3.
11. All right, so Norkin, you can restore 11 health points to you as Thea comes over. And do you have to place your hands on him to do that, or was that something you?
I had to touch him.
So she comes over, she kind of grabs you on the shoulder, and you feel a warmth come inside, and some of your hit points have been recovered.
I'm back up to full.
Awesome. So you're back up to full fighting style. Bolt, your turn.
I'm gonna move right 3 places and then down 3 places, right behind the top left chair, basically.
Right 3 places, down 3 places. Okay, I see where you're going. Okay.
I'm gonna use my bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on Kane.
Okay. And were you going to actually try to attack? Oh, you're attacking a Kane? Yep, no problem. That is a hit on Kane.
Sorry, I'm aiming for his leg.
Okay. Eight damage to Kane. So it kind of comes in and it's
14 damage to Kane.
oh, that's right too. Thank you. So the arrow comes flying in and hits him right in the thigh, and you just kind of see him stagger a little bit, and that leg's dragging a little bit now. He hasn't gone down or anything like that, but you can see it's created a large wound. The little bit of chainmail, you can see blood starting to run down his leg and trickle over his boot and starting to pool on the floor where he's standing. From there, we've got the skeleton boss. The skeleton boss stops. He brings his hands together again, does a little incantation, and moving his hands around, the flames dancing almost like it's a fire swinging or dancing movement. And as he does that, the 2 skeletons rise back up and come back into play. Varus and then Reginald. Or sorry, Ramen. Varus and then Ramen will be going next.
First it was Remy, or Riley. Then it was Remy. Now it's Ramen.
I would like to move down onto the table
Okay.
and take a shot at SB.
Take a shot at SB. Go for it.
If I can roll right this time.
21 is a hit.
And it's
5 damage. Okay. Alright. After Varus, we've got Radburn there, and then Norkin's turn. Hey, Radburn.
Sorry, muted. Since I'm standing next to this skeleton boss, I'm going to take a swing at his side with my warhammer.
Give her a crack. Wow, you guys are rolling well on him. That's another hit.
Damn.
All right. Okay. After your turn, it was Norkin, and then it's going to be Stout.
So that skeleton is dead.
No, that skeleton has just come back up. Both.
I'm pretty
Nice.
sure as long as SB is alive, those skeletons are going to keep rising.
Cool.
That's just a guess.
That seems logical. Well, skeletons are made to die.
Dead.
so-
If only we had holy magic in our party.
Until then, punchy.
Better than Kiki Kiki.
Hey.
Once.
So yeah.
Once.
Okay, let's be fair. It's like twice.
Do it again. Show us again.
You know what? I am going to try to do sort of like a sweeping leg kick to see if I can get this skeleton on the ground.
That's always how it starts.
Oh, I know, right?
Hits.
There we go.
Damage.
1 damage.
Well, I can. The least amount of damage I can do is 4. So.
If you roll a natural 1, you can do less than 4 damage. But you'd have to be. You could re-roll it, I guess.
No, my dex mod is +2, so. Or +3, so.
5 damage. Okay.
And then I'm just going to. As my bonus action, I'm going to. Double check my character sheets. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a key point as my bonus action to do a flurry of blows, so I get 2 more attacks.
Okay.
So, did it make it to the ground?
No, you did 5 damage to it, so you've nailed it into the leg, but it's not gone prone. It is shaken, but you didn't knock it down prone.
As I come up from kicking it, then I'll just try to sort of like, basically open palm strike it to the rib cage.
All right, do both your rolls for hits to see if they both hit, and then we'll roll for damages if they do.
Oh, that one didn't hit.
Nope, that one missed for sure.
Is that Mandy having issues or something?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. It was just,
All right, so you managed to swing a leg kick in there, and you've definitely made solid connection on him. He took a little bit of damage there, but then you just shadow boxed after that and made no contact. Stout, what would you like to do at this point?
I'd like to get my short, tubby ass into battle. I'd like to step right in front of the SB.
Okay.
Catty corner of R.
Okay.
I'd like to take my big old one-handed, I guess, short sword, and swing at his legs.
Go for it. .24, you get a hit. 9 damage. Nice.
Back to the stage. See?
I'm sorry, I'm too busy fighting this guy to pay attention.
All right. So after your turn, it goes to Kane. Kane is going to, at this point, take aim at Stout again. .17, is that a hit on you, sir?
That is a fail, sir.
All right. And then Kane is going to, for his movement, he's got 25. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's over here. That's the end of Kane's turn. Dahlia, then Thea, please.
I'm going to attack the boss.
Okay. 18 is a hit. Seven damage, nice.
Can I take another bonus action as well?
Sure can.
I want to cast the divine spell again, so that I'll have radiant next time if my concentration is not messed with.
Okay, sounds good. And from there, it is Thea's turn, and then it'll be the skeleton's turn.
Is anyone wounded? Does anyone need any healing?
Check out an elf boy.
He's
Are
taking.
you okay? Do you require healing?
I haven't taken a single hit, so
Oh, you're hiding in the corner. That's right. I'm coming.
He's got great aim from the back. Leave him alone, Stout. Okay, I'd like to go just above the skeleton right
Yeah, he does.
now.
And I don't roll.
You'd like to go where? Sorry.
Just above the skeleton next to me.
The one right next to Norkin, you mean?
You're moving the wrong person. I am Thea with the T. That is Dahlia with the D.
You are correct. Yep. Okay. You going in which side of them? This side or? Okay.
Yep, right there. And I'd like to swing with my hammer. So. Gameplay. This one. Forget the roll. Plus.
That is a miss in a typical hammer fashion for you.
And I'd like to take note that I put my shield away and my armor is down, so I'm not holding my shield.
Okay.
So whenever I do get a hit, it's going to be the other damage thingy.
Sounds good. Okay, after your turn, it's the skeleton's turn at this point. First skeleton's going to, this one here in front of you guys, is going to turn and look at Stout. And he's going to take aim at him as he's right in front of his boss there. D20 plus 4. 17. Is that a hit, Stout?
No, sir.
Okay, the other one's going to do the same thing. 9. They both take aim and fire at you. The arrows kind of crisscross through the air as they're coming. Maybe they even connected, but they definitely did not connect with you. And both have fallen down. Bolt, it's your turn. Then it'll be...
Now the question is, do Norkin and Talia, I think that is, get an attack of opportunity because it turned around with the bow and arrow?
Yeah, I can allow it, I guess. He ended up not hitting, so... So rolls to see if you hit.
Yeah, you just get to attack.
You can't use any like bonus actions or anything.
No, just your normal attack. Okay, you guys both hit. Roll your base damages, or whatever your normal damage would be on this. Wow, you guys suck. So I'll let you describe how you almost kill the skeleton that's next to you.
With my hammer.
He is definitely weakened after this attack. He's barely, whatever is holding all these bones together, especially since they've been reattached and they were already broken and cracked and stuff, is starting to fail, and there's pieces falling off of him. But he's still on his feet. Definitely damaged, though. Okay, so after that, the skeletons went. Bolt, it is your turn, and it'll be the skeletal boss's turn. Bolt?
Yeah, so Kane is still visible, right?
Kane is visible, yeah.
Shooting him in the other leg.
Alright. That's a hit.
Sorry.
That's alright. So that's 13 damage total?
12. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 12 damage. Okay, so that's... Okay. And after that turn, it is the skeletal boss's turn. And skeletal boss is going to do a small incantation, and a shimmer appears around him again. And that's all he does on this turn. So we go down to Varus. The one that the other two characters are already at? Or the one that nobody's at?
The one nobody's at.
How far can you run? Can you make it? Yeah, okay, you can get right to him. All right, you're right in front of him.
I would like to equip the greatsword
Okay.
and take a swing at him.
All right, let's see if you connect.
How dark is this room there, sir?
It's fairly well lit. There's torches and everything along those pillars. There's no real big shadowy areas other than maybe next to the pillars, but no problem. All right, so you rolled, that is a hit, and you rolled 12 damage. Excellent. Actually, and you can add 2 to that damage with the sword that you're using. So you take a swing and you slice into the skeleton and you cut it basically from shoulder to hip, and it falls into 2 different piles of bones in front of you as the skeleton is now completely toast. Oops, not that one. This one. That skeleton's off the board.
Better than you, Stout.
It's about time you joined the battle there, Sparky.
So, Radcliffe, it's your turn, then it'll be Norkin's turn.
I'm gonna chop away at the boss again. I'm gonna try and sweep his right leg.
All right.
Come through over here.
Still swinging that hammer, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Do any of us have any sort of means to attempt to capture Kay?
You can attempt to, if anybody gets close enough to hand, you could try knocking him out instead of killing him. Like you could try to just say that you're on your attack, you're going to knock him out or something.
Right, that's it.
I'm trying to take out his legs. I'm trying
Yep.
I didn't know if maybe somebody had a net or a rope or something.
Radcliffe, that is not a hit, unfortunately. Norkin, you're up. And then Stout, it'll be your turn.
Cool. I'm going to take. We can make the skeleton boss. Oh, I provoke an attack actually. Yeah, I'm just gonna go and attack the same skeleton, make sure it's dead before, keep the ads here.
Okay. Which would be funny because you kind of have 2 paladins in your group, eh? And you missed.
Yeah, I'll do flurry of blows.
Alright.
And that one misses.
Yep. That one manages to connect.
Yeah, I'll just try to finish this last guy off. This last one that's standing. Oops.
All right, so you stand in front of this guy. Yeah, you crawled back up on top of the barrel and you were taking swings at him, and it was almost like you were like waving your hands, like not actually trying to hit him. You were just like almost trying to distract him. And at the last second, I'm going to give you a free kick here. That you reached out and kicked, and you kicked his skull right off the back of his neck, and that skeleton is now toast. Stout, your turn, sir. How are you doing on health, by the way?
Oh, plenty.
Okay.
I would like to attack the skeleton boss again.
Sure, take a swing. You take a mighty swing, but unfortunately does not connect.
Set panda. Okay.
All right, after Stout, Kane's turn. Kane is going to take aim at who should Kane take aim at? He's been kind of focused on Stout the whole time, but I think he's going to take aim at Radolf. or Randolph, sorry. And roll 1d20 plus, I think it's 5 for that one, isn't it? To do, yeah, crossbow plus 5. That's a 9. I'm going to assume that's a miss. Alright, and Kane is going to continue to move this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
My short legs cannot reach him.
And that ends Kane's turn. We're going up to Dahlia, then Thea.
Am I correct in that the skeleton still has his shield up?
Yes, he has not taken a hit, and it's not his turn yet to end the spell.
Alright, I would like to move the 30 feet up to Varus's right. Directly beside him.
Okay.
Dahlia, not Thea.
D, not T.
Ah, why do I keep doing that? It's not the first time. You're coming right up here, okay?
And then I would like to take aim at Kane and hopefully hit him in the groin.
Okay.
Just like a woman.
16. That, unfortunately, the arrow comes flying towards him. It hits his mighty codpiece and falls uselessly to the ground.
His mighty codpiece?
He has codpiece armor.
Of course he does.
You could say that he is protecting the family jewels. Since there's no oh sorry, now it's Thea's turn.
Yeah, it's my turn. I can move 25 feet, so move me down 25 feet.
Okay.
And since I'm not taking an actual action, I can do my ready.
Yep.
Right? I am ready for flaming stuff that I will try to make go away with my hammer.
Okay. Or dodge out of the way or what have you. Sounds good. All right. After your turn, it would be the skeletons, but there aren't any that are up. Bolt's turn.
Sorry, I'm
Kitty,
thinking.
kitty.
I don't know what to do.
I'm fucking stupid. I got
Why
10
hit him
feet
in the
of
balls?
movement speed. That's when I leveled up. I can move 35 fucking feet, and I keep doing
Oh,
All right, Bolt.
Wood floor?
Wood floor.
I'm gonna try and staple Kane's feet to the floor. I'm gonna move up onto the table, far right side.
Oh, you sick bastard. Continue.
+20. Do you still have +7? Is it +7 that's your to hit normally, or is that because of the mark? Because I think the mark...
That's my to hit normal.
Okay, I was going to say because I thought the mark was done now. But yeah, that's definitely a hit. Seven damage. 2 mass. Okay. And so yeah, you fire an arrow and it goes directly through his boot. You see him cry out in pain, and that foot is now pinned to the floor. I don't think he's going to be getting anywhere anytime soon. And it's obvious that did quite a bit of harm to him. He's quite sore. The skeletal boss decides at this point, as a glimmer of a shield that he had up fades away, he takes both hands, points them directly towards Stout, and he's going to attempt to hit Stout with both hands of flame. D20 plus skeletal boss plus 5. A 20 and D20. Let's see if the second one hits as well. 10. I assume only one hit. Please take 7 damage. All right. After his turn, Varus, and then after Varus, we'll have Ray do his shot.
I want to run down to 10 and tie him up.
Okay. So let's see. Well, if you run up to him, you're gonna have to fight him.
Knock him out. Knock him out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're gonna say that you're there, and what are you gonna do an unarmed strike, or are you gonna, how are you trying to knock him out here? Like, what's
Can you use the hilt of your sword to try to bash him in the head?
I could do that.
all right?
Don't you dare critical fail. He's taking that damn
Then
sword.
it's you guys are falling out for me. I don't know what you're saying.
Go ahead and see, and we'll see if you hit with the sword. You won't give him any damage, but if all right, so you take a swing and completely miss Kane.
Well, that's
Raymond, it's your turn, and then it'll be Norkin's.
I already used that one.
Sorry, I'm not keeping track of which ones you use. Raphael, it's your turn, and then it'll be Norkin's turn.
Okay, so this has been on browse. I keep changing my player log.
Alright, I'd like to move behind the skeleton boss, directly behind him.
Okay.
And then
And as you take a movement past him here, he's going to get a free shot at you because of a move of opportunity.
I'd like to roll a 1d4 for a disadvantage if you hit him.
Okay, d20 plus 5. 12, is that a hit? Okay, so you're able to complete the roll no problem? Or move up no problem?
then I'm going to take a swing at him with my axe.
Okay. With your axe. Did you drop your Warhammer? No problem. 10. You move back, you take a swing, and you miss. Norkin, your turn.
Cool. I'm gonna move up 35 feet to the skeletal boss.
2, 3, 4, 6. Okay.
And I'm gonna take a swing.
Swing, bada, 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 swing.
With.
22, that's a hit.
Good job.
Uh,
4 damage.
So I'm just, as my bonus action, I'm just gonna do another attack.
Okay.
Not my flurry. Just.
Is that a halfling thing?
No, it's a monk thing.
It's a monk thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, that's attack. Fuck.
Well, we'll count that as your damage if you manage to hit.
That's
16 is a hit. So, at this point, describe how your amazing skills have downed the skeletal boss.
As I run up to him, I will come in with sort of like a European uppercut, sort of like a twisting uppercut. And as he recoils from that, I'll return and also just swing my elbow into his head, just hopefully killing.
All right, you kind of crush in his skull a little bit with that last elbow, and the flames on his head and his hands go out, and he just crumples into a pile of bones with this crushed, mangled skull and jawbone kind of laying on top of them, and it goes. And just as the skeletal boss falls, there's a large boom, and just next to Kane, a large portal opens up. Black, just weird entrails of something kind of scattered around this black hole, and out steps this robed figure. And it sees Varys standing there, and he just kind of pushes his hand, and almost like a giant gust of wind, it sends Varys flying backwards in this direction. And he lands, and he's laying prone. And as he steps forward, you see he looks down at Cain. He says, "You failed me for the last time," and he grabs him by the face. And you see Cain's obviously in pain. He writhes in pain a little bit, and then the man throws him to the ground, and Cain's not moving. It's not clear if he's dead or if he's unconscious, but he's completely non-moving now. His foot's still pinned to the ground, so it's his legs. Yeah, so his legs bent in this weird way as he's laying there. And the hooded figure turns to you guys, and is just about to make some sort of a speech when we hear all this commotion from the other side, and into the main room where you guys are comes bursting in a ton of city guards and another man who looks similar to Cain, but as if they might be related, but he's got long blonde hair instead of dark hair, and he's very well decorated. You can tell he's almost a rank above all the guards that are there. And as the hooded figure, maybe about 2 years older than Cain, and as the hooded figure sees him, he spins and quickly hides who he is and jumps back into the black portal and disappears. So at this point, your combat has ended, possibly. But
I know you guys saw that, right?
That was the coolest thing.
I was talking to the guards mostly.
and as they come bursting in, they say, "What has gone on here?" And Simon, who is the man with the golden hair, looks over and says, "What have you done to my brother?" And he rushes over to him. He pulls the arrow out of the foot that's held there. He sees the other arrows in the leg, and glances around to see who may have a bow. And the guards have all kind of fanned around the room, and have most of the walls, and they're all pointing either swords or crossbows at you. And they demand that you guys lower your weapons, and Simon's demanding to have some sort of an answer given of what's going on.
Well, I would like to tell Simon right away that his brother is the one that attacked us at sea.
And he doesn't know what you're speaking of.
Yeah, I will totally do like a persuasion check or something to try and explain to him what's going on.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe I should negotiate with him.
No, I'm not.
Prison.
I end up stuttering.
I did not persuade him.
So he doesn't know what you guys mean as far as that you were attacked at sea. He's hearing many of you try to talk to him all at once, and he stops and he looks right at Varys, and he sees his family crest on a sword that Varys is holding in his hand as Varys is starting to get back up to his feet. And he says, "Where did you get that sword?"
He's holding it for me.
We've known them for like 3 hours, so I don't know.
I mean, at most, you can only get us on.
Varys, how do you know? How do you have this sword?
Well, I'll tell him the truth. His brother attacked us, dropped it, and ran away. I picked it up.
And he,
What's going on with Drummo? Is just Drummo waking up yet, or is he still down on that?
Dromo's still down and unconscious at the moment.
That's pretty proud of him.
Yeah, can I like magic him awake and him help, or no?
You try to move over towards Dromo, and guards all instantly shift and tell you not to move.
Okay.
So he hears Varys' explanation. Varys, can you roll a persuasion check for me? So D20 plus whatever your persuasion is.
Oh, that was 30, not 20.
$16. he takes heed of what you said and doesn't immediately argue back to you, but he waves over two of the guards, and he says, "Quickly, take him to the priest." And they pick up Cain and walk out of the room with him. At this point, Simon looks at you guys, and he looks first at Raffi and says, "Raffi, you explain yourself."
Well, we were commissioned to bring some
No,
cargo.
I mean, your guy was summoning skeletons, and you expect us to explain ourselves?
And Simon says, "Richard is no sorcerer. He knows not magic. How would he be possibly summoning skeletons?"
There's the bones here, right?
His friends.
Yeah.
I think he's working for somebody who does no magic.
And he wasn't real happy with him because if you saw him disappear, he was the one that was just here yelling at him for failing him again and throwing him on the ground. It was some cloak thing that did that to him. And no, I'm not going to bother rolling a persuasion because I suck. All of that, it made gobbledygook sense, and he has no idea what I'm talking about.
So
You need to be saying this because your persuasion always works.
So Simon hears all this. Simon hears all this and goes, "I did see a portal and a figure. I heard nothing of what you speak of, and for all I know, that person was with you."
How do you explain?
Wouldn't we
Varus with a sword.
if we were with him?
No, he's not talking about Cain. He's saying, for all he knows, you were with the shadowy figure that he just saw throw Cain down.
The only spellcasters I know of here are these that are of the Divine Order. None of them would summon skeletons to fight.
Yeah, that's sort of like impossible.
Simon decides at this point that having this sort of a conversation here, he's still kind of flustered. He's not sure what happened with his brother. So he says, "Okay, you guys are coming with me. You can explain this to my father. I've got to get and see how my brother's doing." And so the guards all kind of start closing in around you guys, and it's clear he wants to lead you to see Eldritch, the town protectorate. If you want to make any sort, you can either go along peacefully. No, they've asked you to put them down. They've got you very well covered, but nobody's attempting to remove anything off of you as of yet.
I am very wary about that because I have my egg. I have to guard it.
All right. So, are we going along peacefully with them, or is there?
I would like to speak to his father. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
for
also
now.
peacefully as long as I keep my hammer.
As long as I
Gets me
keep
closer
the
to
sword, I'm
Cain.
good.
Let's do this.
Okay. So you guys all, you've been encircled and you march out of the bar. And you enter the streets. There's been a large crowd that's kind of gathered along the outside of the bar as they've heard the commotion. And as you step out, there's more guards that kind of come in and surround more, to the point where you guys now have like 30, 40 city guards all surrounding you as you're walking towards the large tower that's in the center of the town. You approach the tower gates, and Simon looks at everybody and says, "I respect that you came along peacefully, and on my word of honor, if you're found to not have anything to do with this, you will receive back all your weapons, but I cannot give you an audience with my father if you are armed." And he shows a room that's right off the entrance here that is a large, sturdy, locked door. He goes, "You can leave your weapons in this room and collect them should it be decided that you're free to leave. But I can't grant you an audience with the city's protectorate if you are armed."
Not even with these 30 soldiers around us.
He goes, I have no idea of what you may or may not be capable of."
Inside check to make sure he's being honest.
Sure.
We had D&D pro over here. Good call.
I still have my dragging bat.
Actually, I don't have a plus to it, so I'm just going with a 0.
Yeah, that's all right. So you've been watching the way he's carried himself, and his tone, and how the other city guardsmen kind of view him. Even the townsfolk, as you guys walk through the town, it's clear that he seems to be a very well respected person. Like nobody, you don't get any sense that anybody fears him from terms of him doing anything wrong to them, but that they all really respect him. And his tone and his body language makes him seem like he is being earnest, and he's trying to meet you halfway instead of just taking stuff from you. He's asking you to honestly just set them aside.
I will be the first to set aside my weapons.
I will follow Ralphie.
I want to ask him if he is going to keep the sword that I took off his brother earlier.
He actually sees you going to put your weapons in the room, and he grabs a hold of the sword. And he goes, "We'll bring this with us, and you can explain to my father how you happen to come across this."
Then the rest of the weapons are in the room.
Okay.
I throw mine in too.
Okay.
I'll follow the team.
You get to keep your egg. It's not a
I will.
weapon.
I will fucking glare at them the entire time.
Well, I'm gonna just tell them right away that I have no weapon, but that my body is the weapon. So
Then we will keep you far away from the Protectorate.
that's fair.
So the guards are satisfied that your weapons, that you are now unarmed. You get a little bit of a pat down to ensure you don't have any hidden weapons on you. They glance quickly at Bolt's egg, but assume that it's a normal knick-knack and say nothing else of it. The door is locked and keyed, and a guard is stationed out in front of it. And you begin your way up a long stairwell, which then comes into a fairly large room with a great table, a big hearth at the end of it, and sitting at the head of the table, kind of surrounded by a few advisors and documents, is an elderly gentleman. He looks probably, nearing maybe the end of his life. He's in his late 70s, early 80s time frame. Long gray beard, frail but still seems strong. He doesn't seem like he's weak by any means, but he is definitely almost a shadow of his former self. But you could tell in his youth he was probably quite powerful. He sees a large collection of guards and his son Simon enter the room. Simon goes up and kind of whispers into his ear and fills him in on what's going on. And Eldritch looks and says, "Who's going to speak for this group and explain the situation as it's happened?"
I think one of the paladins should speak for us.
Who's got the best persuasion?
I've got a +5.
I have a minus
do I.
1. Is that good?
So who's going to speak?
Is Ralphie's 5 the highest?
I've got 5 too, so it's really.
Oh, okay.
I'm all intelligence, no.
All right, so Dahlia, and
Robert. Step forward. Rupert.
Rihanna, Dahlia and Rihanna, will you please? Can you please roll a persuasion check here, please?
Now that I think about it, you do look like Rihanna. Oh, that's weird.
All right. So you guys both tell the stories of the last few days for each of your groups. You explain that you were separate groups that have kind of come together, and it sounds like you had similar experiences. You tell the full story of all the encounters that you had, the strange symbols that you've seen, and Dahlia explains how Varus came to have the sword. And as the words are tumbling out and the stories are coming out, Eldritch sits there very quietly, just taking everything in. He's got an advisor next to him, a middle-aged man, probably 50 years old, who's also sitting there listening. He's wearing kind of grand robes around him, and his ears perk up. He kind of goes from looking like he's contemplating everything to becoming keenly interested as the topic of the symbol that was burnt into the ground and on the heads of various beasts comes into talk. And so you guys finish your stories, and the gentleman that's sitting next to Eldritch leans over and whispers in his ear, and Eldritch kind of replies back, and you're not quite sure what's being said, but there's obviously a little bit of a conversation going on here, to which Eldritch then eventually rises and says, I must go see to my son, but I believe that some version of what story is that you're telling me has some elements of truth. What I'm going to do is ask that you two, the paladins, accompany Gabrius, my priest, with me to come and see my son. The rest of you can remain here, and we'll discuss what must be done afterwards. And he goes over and he has a brief kind of private conversation with Simon and heads towards the door. Gabrius is following, and he kind of beckons for Raymond and Dahlia to follow behind him. You guys can choose to or not. It's up to you.
I will follow willingly.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Never seen again.
So as they walk through a door, Simon stands up to the rest of you and says, "If what you say is true, and I'm not convinced it is, but if it is, then we may need use of your guys' adventuring skills. We can't leave this city. We can't risk something happening to Eldritch. He's gotten on in age. He needs us here to protect him. But that being, if it's who we think it is, and I have to let Gabriel do some more pondering on this, but if it is, I may need to send you to go and kill him. He's our uncle. He was once a great priest like Gabrius was. He studied under the same teacher, but he fell to the dark. He became seduced by wanting to have more power, and he grew jealous of Eldritch. We had to do everything we could to protect him. We couldn't end. We thought we did. We thought we killed him ages ago, but apparently not. He must have found some dark manage to revive himself, and he would most likely be, somewhere in the marshlands to the east. But we'll know more once Gabrius is able to take a look at Richard and ponder what's happening. But that may be the condition of your release, just so you're aware. We cut back over to the paladins. Eldritch has been surprisingly quick for his age and has kind of put a little bit of a separation between himself and Gabrius and the two paladins, and Gabrius and the paladins are chatting a little bit, and Gabrius just asks the two of you for any additional information you may have of what was going on, saying that he's keenly more interested in the symbols and the markings that you've seen.
So I hand over my drawing.
Okay.
I would like to take the time to ask him if he knows anything about this warhammer of mine and describe the etchings and stuff on the hammer.
As you're walking, he takes the warhammer first and looks at it and says, "This is a finely crafted hammer." He goes, "Have you tried throwing it yet?"
I have, and it comes back to me.
Yeah, it's been blessed with the magic of returning, and he goes, generally those who who craft or come in possession of the hammers can name them. I'll leave that to you, but you definitely have a magic hammer. Have you tried seeing if it has any special abilities in terms of if it hits anything in particular, or?
I have not.
Okay, when we get back to my office, I can do a more thorough investigation to see if it has any other magical properties. But yeah, I can definitely say that this is a magic hammer of returning.
DM question: is this guy we're with a priest?
Yes.
Is he the priest that other priest told us to go see?
Yes.
Oh, good. So, hey, I talked to this other priest. I forgot his name, but he lives in Uxbridge, and he actually told us to come see you. And he said that you would know more about the symbol that I gave you.
He kind of nods and he looks down at the symbol that you've drawn, and you can see that he recognizes it as soon as he looks at it. And he's kind of like, "This is what I feared." And do you have any sort of a proof of your meeting with that priest?
I don't think so.
Did one of you take the potion? I took the holy
I
water.
did.
The potion.
I did take a potion from him. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thea, who is not here.
Now, I'm so sorry.
So I reach into my bag and pull out the potion that I got from there and hand it to him. You know, I bought this from him while I didn't buy it, I guess. He took a donation for it.
And he kind of nods. He says, "Yeah, he doesn't charge for his craft, but I can tell by the bottle. He kind of holds it up to the light and is looking it around. This is definitely his work." He hands it back to you, and he goes, "Okay." Because I've got much to consider, and you enter the room where they've got Richard Kane laid out on a bed, and Gabrius looks around on him, is doing a check over him, and kind of muttering to himself a little bit. He tries casting various spells on him. Doesn't seem to have any effect. He goes over to his workbench and brings back some very dark liquid potions and tries giving them to Kane. Again, still no effect. It seems Kane is alive, but he's not conscious. Like he says to Eldritch that he's not lost to us, but I can't seem to wake him up. And so some time has passed, and there's some investigation being done, and eventually everybody comes back to the room, and everybody's back together as a group. And Eldritch and Gabrius have been talking. The two paladins were sent back earlier, and they had rejoined the group previously. So you see Eldritch and Gabrius walk back into the main room. And they kind of address the group, and Eldritch says, "So you were separate parties, but you've come together?"
Yes.
We met here by chance.
Well, maybe that chance may work out to be my fortune. I'm told this is the work of my brother. As much as I loved him as a child, the items that he did earlier and what he seems to have done down now to my son means he must be ended for sure. But before he's killed, I need him returned back to here so I can see if he can wake my son. For all the flaws that he may have, and from the sounds of it, there's more than what I knew, he's still my son, and I have to try to revive him. So if I can request that you go forth and bring him back to me, you'll be forever in my debt. And he poses the question out to the group.
He's back in that room talking to all of us, right?
Yeah, all of you are at this point. He's addressing.
Or the priest have any insight into how we might capture him, seeing as how he's got this sorcerer thing going on?
You ask, and you see Gabrius kind of give a nod, and Eldritch says, if you agree to do this, I will have Gabrius equip you. You'll have rooms to sleep and rest tonight. and he will give you as much information as he possibly can to aid you on your journey. But I repeat, I need to have him return to me alive.
To revive a monster?
He may be a monster to you, but to me, he's my son. Do you have children, Kat? Do you have a litter?
Fair enough.
He wouldn't know. Cats hit it and quit it.
Fair enough.
So, do you guys agree to go on this journey, or no?
How far will this journey take us from here?
We suspect from previous encounters and from Gabrius's advice that he's most likely held up in a tower in a marsh. That's about a 5 to 6 day hike through some pretty boggy areas to the northwest of here.
Is it going to be wet there?
Get you some rubber.
And the Eldritch kind of looks at you. It is a marsh.
Perhaps the protectors should provide us with mounts to help us get there.
It's a marsh. Mounts won't go through a marsh.
Horses can't walk through.
Not through sucking mud, no. It'll come up past their knees and they'll get stuck. Think never-ending story.
It's not the bog of eternal stink, is it?
No. It is definitely a difficult, laborious journey through it, but the marsh itself should not cause you any danger unless you are just reckless in how you choose to navigate it.
Tell me, what creatures are native to the...
There's been, at a time, normal livestock, but over the coming years, there's been various beasts, and if our suspicions are true, they may be coming due to my brother. I couldn't tell you exactly. Gabrius may be able to fill you in with more, but this is probably as much as I can offer.
Is there any species like Knoll that are common?
There are many humanoid beasts that have been in that area. I don't know this Knoll name that you speak of, but I do know there's been many beasts that used to walk on 4 or fewer limbs that now walk upright like humans.
Oh. Fish people. That's right. We were attacked by the fish people. They must be from the bog.
Huh.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
We'll have to investigate that as well if we're going there. I mean, the sage needs something to do with it. Besides missing kicks.
Eldritch kind of smiles at that, and
Go and you know what? You don't even have to pay me.
there will be rewards if you're able to complete. This is
Knowledge is power, my friend.
I'll take his rewards. You got any trinkets?
He goes, we can discuss additional trinkets when you return, and to you, Sage, I will gladly open our full library to your perusal if you're able to complete this mission for us.
I'm
I'd
legit.
like-
Almost pass out. Oh, my medication.
Just give me a full quiver before we leave, and I don't need anything else. That's a payment after.
What about the sword? Do we get to keep the sword?
The sword is a family heirloom. I can give you an equivalent sword of power, but not this particular one. It pains me that he used it in the methods that you describe. Maybe if you return, and as a symbol of your assistance to us, I could give this to you, but for now, I can't risk it never returning from this mission.
I understand. I will willingly give you back the sword.
So at this point, assuming that everybody has agreed to go on the furthering journey,
As long as I can purchase some armor from somewhere before we go.
Yeah, I'd like to get some items.
yeah, and Eldritch says that you will be armed and what have you in the morning before you depart. And as out of character, we can discuss what you decide to get and add them to your character sheets at that point.
And Gabriel will be able to give us more information too.
Yeah, and so at this point, Eldritch stands up and says, "I'll leave you with Gabrius to explain further. Once you have your questions answered, let the guards outside know. They'll take you to your room, and in the morning you can recollect your weapons from the front of the gate and equip yourself with anything else from our armory that you require. And I wish you well. Please return speedily. We don't know what sort of a curse has been put onto Cain. Sorry, onto Richard."
Thank you for your hospitality.
And with that, he gets up and leaves the room. Simon follows him, and you're left alone in the room with Gabrius. Gabrius looks at your group, and he says, "Listen, I know everything you just heard sounds like it's one way, but you cannot leave this monster alive. He has to die. I can't risk you bringing him back here and doing something to Eldritch." And he hands Dahlia a silver dagger. He goes, "This dagger is imbued with magic. If you stab him with it, it will do massive damage. It may even kill him. Use it once he's weak, and make sure he dies." He turns and he looks at Reimer and says, "And you, if you could, lead your group and go and find my teacher, the same teacher that taught this monster, and bring him back. If there's anybody who'll know how to reverse this, it will be him. He lives in a fort about 3 days' journey from here. He won't be easy to convince. He's ever since he fell." He was like, "I dare not even speak his name," but ever since he fell and went to the dark, my mentor he reclused himself. He didn't want anything to do with anybody. He felt like a failure himself, I assume. But if you can convince him to come back, of anybody, he should be the one that can end this curse and bring Richard Cain back to us."
Do you have anything that could assist us in convincing him?
He was like, "I will be glad to write you any sort of a note that would help. Honestly, you're going to have to find some way of reasoning with him. I don't know if my words will hold any weight. He's become quite reclusive and quite maybe strange or eccentric in his age. But there's no denying his power. I've never seen somebody as powerful as he is, and hopefully he should be able to reverse this."
What's his story? What caused him to turn dark?
"I don't know. We went through the training together. We worked in various churches and various temples. We both spent many years just healing different members of the army, and as they came back from battle, we'd tend to their wounds and we'd help the sick. But I could always tell that he was jealous of his brother. When his brother was named the protector, when Eldritch took his seat, he just couldn't seem to accept the fact that he had to answer to his brother. And over time, he grew more distant from me. He grew more distant from everybody. He wouldn't show up for any of our tasks. And we started noticing that he was doing odd experiments. And eventually, he tried to make an attempt on Eldritch's life, and we had to banish him from the city. He tried again, and there was a battle, and we thought he had killed him. We thought he'd perished. But apparently not. And
Pathetic to Richard.
yeah, quite possibly. That maybe is how these two kind of came to be. Their stories aren't that different. Simon is destined to be the one to take up after Eldritch, and if Richard is as ambitious as he has been, although what he has in ambition he lacks in sympathy or skill, may have seen his uncle as a way of of gaining power.
When I was asking the question, I was referring to the teacher that you were pointing us to. Did I misunderstand you in that you said he had also become...
No. He became reclusive. He seemed embarrassed by seeing one of his students attack Eldritch. He's always preached to us that we're here to heal, to help. That the abilities and magic powers that we have been both studied and by the grace of the divine above been able to just have should only be used to help others. And when he saw the harm that this monster did, I think it broke him.
Okay, am I understanding this right? You want us to split up? You want my group to go kill this uncle, and you want the other group to go convince the other dude to come heal the kid?
Essentially, yes. Although I do not know this word "dude," but that sounds exactly that sounds exactly what I'm asking. If you wish, you can. I hold no power over how you organize yourselves. If you want to stay in the original groups as you arrived, or if you found kinship with each other, but in some sense, I need to have you go quickly. You both quickly, one going and trying to get a solution to our Richard problem as quickly as possible, and then another definitely to Eldritch's brother to end him before he can do more harm.
This path to your teacher, is it significantly better than the path to the uncle?
It goes through some wooded forests and doesn't really have much traffic on it, but there is a road that leads in that general direction. There's no marshes or anything like that.
So do you have mounts we could use to quicken our journey?
We can provide you with some mounts, yes. We can definitely do that.
One of the paladins needs to go to the dude that needs convincing, because you guys have the persuasion. At least one of you needs to go that way.
Yep, that was me that he had asked to do that.
Yeah.
So, any further questions for Gabrius before he allows you guys to retire to chambers for the evening?
Well, I would like to have a chat with him about my Warhammer to find out what he...
Oh, yes, he says if you don't mind, it's downstairs in the locked room. Actually, that's a good point. You never handed it to him before. You described it to him. Yeah, and he says, I will go and retrieve it and look it over tonight. See me in the morning, and I will return it to you and give you as much information as I can.
Perfect.
I'd like to say to the priest, this isn't a small thing that you're asking of me. My character is lawful good, so it's rough on me to think that you have given me this responsibility to go and kill someone that I have not interacted with, so to speak, in a personal way.
I
To bring him back alive.
Exactly.
I was wondering how you were going to be conflicted, Dahlia.
I understand your concern, and keep in mind that the Eldritch, this is his brother. He's always going to have a little bit of a blind spot, but he doesn't understand the full power that this monster controls. He doesn't know the risk that he brings upon himself and to all of us by bringing him back here. I understand that asking you to kill anyone is difficult, but I hope you can see that for the greater good, this has to be done.
Can I do a perception check on him just to make sure that he's
You can definitely do it.
in what he's saying?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. 22. And critical. So, as far as you can tell, he's being very earnest and open. You're not sure if he's overhyping the danger at all. So you believe that he's telling you the truth, that the monster must die, and that you're convinced that he's telling you his truth. Exactly. That's probably the best way of putting it. That there's a monster. He has to be killed. Don't bring him back here. There's definitely risk. All that, as far as Gabrus is concerned, is completely true.
Well, other than the risk that this is going to put to damaging my honor, is there a certain amount of risk that if I do this, that Aldridge there might be a lashback from him?
And Gabrus says, if this other group does not fail, and we can bring Richard back, I can talk Eldritch out of any sort of discomfort he may have over the situation.
Unless his son is brought back.
Well, I would suggest that perhaps we give them a head start to just, if they do succeed, they will return first, hopefully.
I can't risk this monster having more time to gather more power and replot out whatever he has in mind. I need you both to try to go as quickly as possible. I don't have time for days of travel and whatever may behold these group before they're able to do days travel back.
All right, I'll take everything you've said into consideration.
Do they share the same religion? The paladin and the priests?
I don't think so.
Because that may be something to convince her as well.
Yeah, I don't think they do. So at that point, Gabriel stands. He says, "Do we have an understanding of what must be done?"
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I see what you're throwing down.
And he looks at you and says, "And it does not have to be you. I just entrusted you with that dagger because I can see the light in you. I can see what sort of an order you come back, and the fact that you ask these questions makes me believe I've made the right choice even more so. But if you can't bring yourself to do it, the dagger holds no connection to you. Its properties can be wielded by anybody." And with that, he beckons to the guards to lead you guys away to chambers. He retires for the evening. And at that, I actually came in way sooner than I thought I would for the end of this session. You guys now have the choice of deciding what your parties are going to look like to go on this next stage of it. As you retire up to your room, you can continue to compare notes as a group. If for some reason you guys wanted to change up how the two parties were, you could, or you can remain exactly the same. Just let me know how you guys want to end off this evening. As you kind of go back up to this large communal room with various beds in it for you to sleep in.
Well, I know the cat's going to want to come with me because it's drier.
Are me and Dahlia the main healers?
I think we should switch parties, honestly. As far as, like, maybe the marauding misfit should go after, what's his face, Richard, because I wouldn't mind killing him. And then the others go towards finding the master.
I was just thinking we should split the healers.
Well, I'm healer
staying
as
with this
well.
one then.
As much of a fighter as I am, I'm also a good healer with lay hands and
Oh, okay, so you got the
Yeah.
healing too. Okay.
the cure wound spell.
I forgot all about that. Good deal.
Yeah, I can self-heal.
So we're flipping the groups. Which that's fine. I mean that we got healers on both sides, got a paladin heading to persuade.
All right, so are we saying that the cartographer 4 are going to head to seek and try to convince the master to come back, and the misfits are heading to try to go into the battle to kill off the.
Yeah.
Should we take a couple days to talk about it?
We can't take a couple days. You meant in real life.
Like,
Sorry.
are we doing this right now?
No, you guys can all discuss this out of character if you'd wish. The only thing I would like to know right now is if you guys plan on switching up the parties at all in terms of who's a member of which party. But if you're going to keep the parties exactly the same, then I'll let you guys decide who goes on what mission.
We've done well in our group of 3.
Yeah.
All right. So
Although the dude said that it's not my responsibility, I sort of feel like it almost is.
Yeah.
So, as much as I want to stay with my group, I feel like I should take the other.
If you go with
mission.
them, then the other paladin needs to come with us. Dragonborn needs to come with us to persuade them.
I would agree with that totally.
Because there needs to be a paladin with the persuasion to persuade.
Okay.
No, it makes sense. But I mean,
Well, my goal is like the wrong the right, or the right the wrongs. So any which way, I'm good to go. I'm a chaotic good, so either way, I see the good in both deeds.
Yeah.
all right. So as you guys' conversations ring late into the night, darkness falls. Some of you are more tired than others and pass out immediately. Others continue to stay up late and chat about the information you've gotten. And with that, we'll end tonight's session, and we pick it up after some offline discussions and decide who's going which way. And you guys are now all, as you awake, fully healed. When you wake up on the next one, you'll be fully healed, and you will be at level 3.
Right.
Level 3.
And with that, I actually ended that way sooner than I thought I was going to, because you guys did pretty good in that fight. Or I did badly in the fight, one of the two. And I had stopped recording.
Bye.